Hello everybody, here we are today talking about the New York Rangers, the fact that they are having a good season, and just, some things about why they might be Stanley Cup or bust mindset. So before we get into that, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So yes, the Rangers are a historic team that has deep history in the NHL going back to the 1920s. They are an Original Six club that has seen themselves hoist the Lord Stanley on 4 separate occasions, the last time being 1994. So why are we talking about this year being such a big year for them to be Stanley Cup or bust mindset, considering they're almost in a 30-year drought? Well, I think for a lot of Rangers fans, you could argue that a lot of years are Stanley Cup or bust because they want to see this team do well, but there's a few reasons. Now, the easy way to go is media and fan base. Now, media coverage for this team is huge considering the history and the size of the fan base with the size of New York, and just the fact you'll probably have a lot of fans that might be foreign fans over in Europe or wherever, and then fans just around the US that are passionate about this club. But I think a big reason that this team has those big aspirations is the fact that they've had really good regular seasons over the past 2 years. 2 seasons ago, they had a 110-point season where they lost in the Eastern Conference Final against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Last year, they had an 107-point season where they lost to the New Jersey Devils in the first round. Now, I know a lot of people will say, how do you expect a team to go from the first round to winning the Stanley Cup? It doesn't really affect me anyway. I don't think that changes my mind of how the teams could go out there and do it. In fact, I think crazier things definitely would happen. But looking at this team, they played a really good New Jersey side last year that was 3rd overall in league standings, and they were up in that series 3-2. Now, they did go on to lose it, but I'm not as concerned about that because look at what they did the past 2 years. 110 points, 107 points. You know they're going to get to the playoffs. You know that they're probably going to be top 3 in their division, and you don't have to worry about them being a fringe wildcard team. In fact, this year, they look like they're in a really good spot where they could win their first division title for the first time since the 2014-15 season, which doesn't necessarily guarantee you a title, but it could give you an easier path. Obviously, you are not going to be playing as the 2 seed against the 3 seed in your division, or you being the 3 seed versus a 2 seed. You're going to be the 1 seed against a wildcard team, and you're going to have home ice advantage. Now, that may not matter as much this year. Currently, I think that if the playoffs started today, Toronto would go on to play the Rangers, which isn't necessarily an easy matchup, but it is a deal where you are going to be able to play Game 1 and Game 7 in your building, so maybe that's a good thing. And the reality is, too, for the Rangers, they have been able to go on a run before in 2022, so they don't have a lot of pressure on them like you would see in a bigger media area or just like a big market, because obviously they're in a big market. Looking at Toronto, a team that I just mentioned, they were that team for a long time that even though they made the playoffs, they were always going to lose in the first round because it's just what the Leafs did. And I don't know if that kind of affected their play. I hate to say that something like that would, but it probably did creep up in their mind because you know that you're going to be getting a lot of messages or DMs from people or whatever in today's modern age where fans have more access to you. And for Toronto fans, maybe that did play a factor in their spell. However, for the Rangers, there's no real longevity where they've been stuck banging their head against a wall trying to get past a certain point. And they know that a lot of those guys from that 2022 team are on this 2023-2024 team where they could go on to make another deep run. Now, what does the analytics say for this team? It says that they aren't necessarily a great full-strength side. They are kind of average in a lot of regards. But for special teams, things look really good. For the power play, they have the 3rd best power play percentage in the league. They are 12th for scoring chances for per 60. And then on the PK, they have the 5th best PK percentage in the league, but are allowing the 2nd fewest scoring chances against per 60 in that time. So, in some ways, kind of an average team at full strength, but they don't allow a lot of chances on the PK, and then when they're on the power play, they are able to score goals. So 2 things go hand in hand with this being potentially a good spell for them. Now, I will tell you, why am I saying that this is going to be more of a Stanley Cup or bust run for them over the next year or two? Especially after I said, analytically things were in decent shape. They have been a consistently good team in terms of regular season standings by the past 2 or 3 years. and just how everything's going there. Well, I think it really comes down to the fact that some of their forwards are getting older. Artemi Panarin, 32 years old. That does not seem possible, but it is. Mika Zibanejad is 2 months away from being 31 years old. And then you look at guys like Chris Kreider and Vincent Trocheck. Those are also guys that are playing a big role for this team at the moment, and they are in their 30s. And when you look at some of the deals that are on the contracts for the Rangers, a lot of these deals end after next season. I'm not saying it's specifically these 4 guys or whatever, but you will see some names where it's like, well, they're a free agent. They're a free agent. And so even if you are able to retain some of these players, you do wonder a little bit, could a 34-year-old Artemi Panarin still be a heavy lifter for this team? And if not, who's going to be coming in his place? Because I know that they've got some young talent on this team. Obviously, you look at a guy like Adam Fox that is still relatively young. He's going to be a huge piece for this team as well, you know, a Norris-winning defenseman. But you are mentioning, I think, Trocheck and Kreider and Panarin and Zibanejad. They're the top 4 for points on the team right now. And would you really want them all to be 33, 34 years old and expect them to go on this big run? I don't necessarily know if you could rely on them to do that at this point in time, because this is not the 2019-20 team anymore, and while they are still having consistent success, I am looking at this Rangers team and saying, well, they are a side that is older but haven't been able to make it to the final. So it's like, if you lose some of these guys in the next couple of years, are they actually going to be better? Are they going to be worse? Are they going to be sticking around where they are? And the reality is, too, the playoffs are so finicky that in a couple of years, maybe you get a bad call. Maybe somebody gets injured. Maybe another team makes a big trade before you can do it, and you're just going to hinder a little bit. So you're only able to do what you can in front of you. So I think that the next 2 playoffs, if the Rangers make it, are going to be really important this year, especially so. So do I think that the Rangers are necessarily a Stanley Cup favorite? I don't necessarily pick them as my favorite, but at the same time, too, you're looking at a New York side where they're probably going to be top 2 or 3 in their division, by top 2 or 3 in their conference, I should say. For standings, they have a good shot. I think they're in the top 10 for odds to win the Stanley Cup. They're not in the top 5. I know that for sure. You know, with Quick and Shesterkin, if they get hot, anything is possible. They get some timely power play goals to keep the PK going the way it's been, and they have a average or a little bit above average run at full strength. I think this side could be able to go out there and do something. Now, again, would I put money on it? No, I wouldn't, but we're in a spot right now where the Rangers, for the next 2 seasons, really want to try to get the most they can out of this group, because who's to say that for the 2025-2026 season they're going to be capable of doing the same thing, or there's not another team that's on the up and up that is just so much better than everybody else out east, or just in general. So those are my quick thoughts on the Rangers. What do you think about this team? Obviously a very good team in the past few seasons, but are they your Stanley Cup pick? Are they one of your Stanley Cup picks you would make? Let me know that stuff down below. And do you think this will be a team that in 3 years, or 2 or 3 years, whatever, is going to be able to go out there and get a cup? Let me know all that stuff in the comment section. Please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. And Eagle of Hockey success as my dog's getting up. But anyway, yes, so the Rangers have been a very good team the past few seasons. They have had a 110-point season 2 years ago where they made it to the Eastern Conference Final, and then they lost, unfortunately, to the Tampa Bay Lightning before last year having a 107-point season where they would fall in the first round to the New Jersey Devils. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.